Parish President's remarks, report, Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. And let me just start. I have a couple of things that I'm going to start off with that actually aren't on my report. First, I want to introduce, I think Joe Crafassi in the audience. Joe is with Senator Cassidy's office. Thanks for being here, Joe. And thank the Senator for having a representative here. Risk rating 2.0. At the end of last week, I had a phone call conversation with FEMA regarding the modeling of risk rating 2.0 for the parish. As we all know, a lot of grim news coming out of that new policy. The purpose of our meeting was we found out that FEMA will actually recognize St. Charles Parish levies. The problem is that they're pulling their information from the Corps' levy database. Well, the Corps' levy database has completely inaccurate information in regards to St. Charles Parish levy systems. For example, they say the Sunset levee that goes around Bayou Gauche into Zalman's is 3 foot tall, when we know it's 6 foot tall and it's about to be lifted to 7.5. There were some inaccuracies in regards to the recently built Willowdale, Willow Ridge, and Magnolia Ridge levees. In fact, the modeling wasn't even accounting for the Magnolia levee system at all. We think this is a huge problem because if they're modeling storm surge based off of levees that are not present, I'm sure that model will show a different outcome. We made it very clear to them that St. Charles Parish has never flooded from a storm surge event, and that we are more protected now than we ever have been. And I also reiterated to them, I basically asked them to put themselves in the shoes of our residents. For the last 20, 30, 40 years, they've done everything that they're supposed to do. They built the FEMA standards. They pay their flood insurance rates. They even decided to tax themselves to build levees to protect themselves with the promise that if we got 100-year protection, the flood insurance rates would go down. And what does FEMA do? They go ahead and move the goalpost because they said, hey, we were actually looking at this all wrong. So who pays the price for FEMA looking at things all wrong? Of course, the people they are supposed to be protecting. So just based off of what we talked about, they said that these changes, which we're going to work with the Corps of Engineers on making sure they have the correct information and then working to get that plugged into FEMA, will reduce flood insurance rates under risk rating 2.0. They will not be lower than the old NFIP program. So they're still going to be higher, but they may not be as high, especially for the areas like in that Magnolia Ridge section. So this will have an effect. We don't think this is the end-all, be-all, obviously. But while Congress is working on a solution, we're going to do everything we can at the local level to make sure that their model is accurate and reflects our real risk. And I'll just say that we're going to continue working with them to ensure that, and we're going to keep pushing to make sure that their model includes not only the levees but the pumping stations that have been added. We want to make sure that they have the appropriate amount of marsh between our levees and our lakes and the coast, because we know that every 1 mile of marsh knocks down storm surge a foot. So again, we're going to keep pushing on that. I'm sorry I didn't have like a slide dedicated to that, but I thought about it here before the meeting. The next thing that's not on the report as well is street lighting. We had a meeting with Entergy at the end of last week as well. Entergy is about 75% complete on the east and west bank. I took the opportunity to ride around the parish the other night. They've definitely taken care of some of my concerns. One of my main concerns was Paul Mallard Road between the subway and the fire station. They've got it lit up much better now. The other area that was also a concern was River Road on both sides of the river. We are aware of the lighting in the historical stretch on the east bank. Those lights are on order because that's a kind of a cast iron decorative lighting, as well as the lights at the front of Ashton Boulevard. Those are also a decorative lighting. So just want to let you know, 75% complete. We did have a conversation about whether to leave the vector lighting on Highway 90 versus going back to what they had, which was the long arm mast, which shines straight down. I'm going to get with the council members whose district that in, mainly Nikki and Julia, as well as the at-larges, just to get y'all's opinion on that as well. Would love for y'all to drive it and just see it and get your take on it. My initial thought is to go back to the long arms because you kind of get a little bit of that glare in your eyes. So, but I will reach out to y'all and get your take on that. We'll communicate that with Entergy. Now we'll go on to the rest of the report. So you can see some bulkheading go into Zalman's. This is a part of some money we got to do emergency repairs on the bulkhead. If you remember, after Hurricane Ida, this section of bulkhead was the most damaged to the point where it was undermining the road. So, and I would probably argue that this is probably the most vulnerable part of the parish when it comes to potential for storm surge flooding because the protection is at only 4 foot. This wall is going in at 6 foot and is going to provide not only protection from storm surge, but protection to that levee from erosion from all of those tide cycles. So we're glad to see that finally going in. On just some general updates on work that Public Works is doing, South Destrehan Drive in Francis, crews were investigating sinkholes that were popping up in the roadway and in the right-of-way. So crews are working on that. On Ormond, and then on Ormond Village, same thing. We had some sinkhole repair needed around a pipe, so you can see there. Pipe became separated. They made a seal around that and are fixing that. So just showing you kind of the different things that we're doing. This is on Kindler Street. We're starting to sweep ditches down there. Remember, we do have a project for Kindler and Paul Frederick, which is currently being engineered because of the flooding that we see on that street in our large rain events. So that project's going to include rerouting some water to different areas and making improvements to channels to get that water so it's not sitting on Paul Frederick and Kindler. But again, in the meantime, we are going to be working on making sure the profiles of those ditches and the culverts are blown out. On Paul Frederick, we're continuing to do street repair. This is asphalt patching. Again, that same project that I was talking about, that is a drainage project. Mike, if I'm not mistaken, it's also somewhat of a road project, redoing the road and putting in some subsurface in some areas that the road is getting undermined by the steep ditches. We also have some ditch digging going on in Norco, just part of our commitment to maintenance of our existing ditches. And this is along, I believe this is 6th Street and Clayton. All right, next is St. Charles Parish Day. Last Tuesday, we had an event at the Louisiana State Capitol where we hosted our administration folks from the governor's office, various folks from the governor's different departments, as well as our legislature and our staff members. This was a great event, and it allowed us to really showcase St. Charles Parish, not only our industry partners, but what do those industries provide, and it allowed us to really showcase some of the food that we have in the parish and just our total impact on the state of Louisiana. Okay. Oh, and let me just say, we want to thank our sponsors for this event. Everybody from Shell to DRC, Mullen, Randa, Valero, Bear, Dow, IMTT, Kospalich, Kongsberg, and Oxy, and I think D.A. Davidson as well, and Randa. So we want to thank them. And then we want to thank our restaurants who helped participate. We had Santos on the West Bank. We had Gonzo's Smokehouse, which provided some delicious barbecue, also from the West Bank. And then on the East Bank, we had the Seafood Pot, which provided some delicious catfish. And we had Frank's as well, which provided some excellent king cakes, our non-traditional king cakes, such as the wedding cake king cake, which has become famous. So again, thanks to the sponsors and thanks for the restaurants that came out. We did get a lot of compliments on the food. So, and I should say we're excited for next year that we're already figuring out a couple of different things that we want to do to help make that day better. Okay, Animal Control hosted a large animal rescue training class with 30 participants at the EOC on Thursday. You can see that picture on the left. And then they went out in the field in the afternoon and did some practice scenarios with dummy horses. They had a trail that was flipped over. I want to thank Gina for hosting this, and thank our fire departments for participating as well, and thank Public Works for helping to prepare the area for this practice scenario. All right, Parks and Recreation. We have a bunch of upcoming events. Want to mention that the Fish Dat Rodeo is scheduled for Saturday, May 21st at the Bonnet-Carré Spillway Boat Launch at the lower guide levee side. The registration is open for all participants of all ages. May 19th, that is when that, I believe, it closes. And there are multiple categories, including bank fishing, and as well as categories for different types of fish. Summer registration is now open for the Oshner's Agility Sports Clinic, as well as our basketball camp, baseball camp, softball camp. Registration for this runs through May 31st, so please be sure to sign up. We've been running that on the channel as well as the website and and Facebook. The Flag Football Clinic registration will open on June 1st, and if you want more information, you can visit scpparksandrec.com, or you can call Recreation at 783-5090. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen there, we got the Cornhole League started back up, and they are excited. Last year we had 27 teams for Cornhole. This year we have 44 teams for Cornhole. So this event has grown tremendously, and we're excited to see that. It's always great to go on a Tuesday night and see so many people utilizing the community center. So if you're ever around on a Tuesday, go stop by. Maybe go play a game with some of those folks. They're very serious, by the way. They have their own bean bags and backpacks and jerseys and everything. Okay, Veterans Memorial Plaza. Again, we are selling bricks for our Veterans Memorial Plaza. The proceeds from those bricks not only pay for the brick itself, but the installation and for future events at the Veterans Memorial Plaza, as well as some small maintenance items to keep the plaza looking beautiful. It is $150 to sponsor a veteran on one of those bricks. And you can find the forms on our websites. The forms are at all of our local libraries. They're also in the lobby of the courthouse as well. So we welcome you to come and sponsor a veteran at our new Veterans Memorial Plaza, which we are hoping will be done by the end of June. Summer food program. All St. Charles Parish children under the age of 18 or individuals with special needs who attend a state-accredited school are invited to participate in our summer food program. This program is free of charge, and it will take place from June 6th through July 14th, Monday through Thursday. Our Office of Community Services, is the department that operates this. We've been doing this for many years, and it's a great event to keep our residents, especially our school children, who are at risk of going hungry or at risk of not getting a solid meal, keep them fed during the summer. So we're proud to continue that event. The EOC open house. So I hate to talk about it, but storm season is approaching. There's been a lot of chatter about GFS models and what can happen. There have been several storm seasons, probably the last 7 or 8 or so, where there has been a small tropical disturbance or a tropical storm before the start of hurricane season. But with that is hurricane preparedness. We recently had Hurricane Preparedness week, where we put out a bunch of great information for our residents. But we really want to give our residents an opportunity to come to the EOC and see what happens, not just during a storm, but during, let's say, a severe weather event like a thunderstorm where we have to issue a tornado warning, or what we would be potentially doing for some other emergency event. So this event's going to be on June 14th. It's going to be at 10 a.m., and we'll also have a 6 p.m. for our residents who work and want to come after work. Again, a 10 a.m. event and a 6 p.m. event, June 14th, and that's going to be at our EOC. We're going to have refreshments, and we'll have our team there to talk about all of the great capabilities that we have at the EOC and highlight just every aspect, from drone technology to weather stations to emergency sirens. So with that, we have job openings. We have carpenter, equipment operators 1, 2, 3, and 4, grass cutters 1 and 2, groundskeeper, laborer, pump technician helper, shop mechanic helper, wastewater tech 1. If you are interested in working for St. Charles Parish, please contact the personnel office at 985-783-5000. Lastly, I'll give an update regarding our new trash service. I will say that they've had a few kinks when they've started. They're going into their third week. I had a phone conversation today with the leadership of River Birch, just reiterating our expectations for this service and kind of highlighting some of the issues that we are seeing on the ground. I want to thank the contract monitor's office. They've been great monitoring Facebook, monitoring the phone calls that have been coming in and working to resolve issues. And I'm happy to answer any questions regarding that, but it does look like the service is getting better each and every day as they're working. The GPS is now working in the trucks, which was not working in the beginning. We are working on getting streets that weren't showing up on GPS into the GPS system, and that's been showed to make the service much more consistent. So happy to answer any questions, and with that, it concludes my report, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Ms. Cormier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to go back to NFIP. So glad to hear some good news on that front. I know we've kind of done this before. We've been through this same routine with FEMA, unfortunately, where they've given us bad data where we can put our eyes on it and we can see what's there, but their maps say differently. I know you say you're working with them to try to get them the correct data and to get them the correct modeling. What does that mean? Does that mean an in-person with someone coming here, or does that mean we're transmitting, the data we have electronically? And before you answer that, I'll tell you why. We'd hit milestones for years when it came to challenging their maps. And they would say, okay, you hit that milestone, we have to come there. We have to come to St. Charles Parish and sit down in person with you and look at it and put our eyes on it too. But we don't have the money to come. And so we wouldn't get that benefit of that challenge as we went through that process. So are they coming here anytime soon?
Yeah, I'll get you an answer on that. Our last conversation that we had was basically them saying, we understand that you think this is incorrect, and we're willing to fix our modeling. We're willing to recognize these levies. And part of what my confusion was like, you're recognizing Willowdale, Willow Ridge, but not Magnolia, and they're all built to the exact same standard, and which is the core standard. What they've said is we have to ensure that the surveying of the levee, the profile that we're giving them is in line with the core standards, which we believe it is, because before we do substantial completion or final acceptance, those folks come in and certify that the entire levee is at the agreed upon elevation. And we believe that the Corps has this information. This was all a part of their chief's report. It's in the chief's report. It's actually notated. So we don't want to spend any money on redoing any of this.
Yeah, they have it.
Right.
We've
and
provided this time and time again.
So we have a contact with them, and we are going to go, myself, Sam Sholey, Mike Palamone, we're going to go sit down with that contact. We're going to make sure that he has everything he needs. Once we can get a confirmation on that, we're going to turn that over to FEMA. We were supposed to have an in-person meeting on Friday, but unfortunately it got changed to a Zoom. But if they don't want to come to us, we're going to go to them. We're going to make sure that they have it. And like I said, I'm not saying that this is going to be some sort of golden egg that's going to somehow make the flood insurance affordable. But if we can knock off just a little bit, for the time being while Congress works on a fix, we're going to do everything that we can on our end.
Yeah, I mean, we passed a tax, a parish-wide tax. The residents said, yes, we want to build core standard levees. We built them, and now it's a slap in the face. So even if it's this much, it's still, I guess it feels a little better for them to recognize what's there. Did you mention Earl was going to be in that meeting?
Yeah, he will. He will. And he was on the call with FEMA as well.
Delay his retirement as long as you can until this is fixed.
Oh well, we got some things planned.
All right, good news. Thank you.
Ms. Belloc.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I basically just wanted to say, give a special thanks to the sponsors that helped out for St. Charles Parish Day, because we had 5 and I wanted everybody to know that. We had 5 that stood up and helped to support us for our St. Charles Parish Day, and that was Mullen, Randa, DRC, Kongsberg, and IMTT. So thank you.
In your district.
In my district, yeah. Thank you. That's it.
Ms. Cluley.
Just a quick question. The summer meals, it's just Monday through Thursday, not on Fridays? I realize
Hold
that.
on. Let's see. Yes, Monday through Thursday, and that's, again, June 6th through June 14th, so a little over a month of that.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. In reference to River Birch, how close should a garbage can be to the road in order for the lift to pick up?
Yeah, so the truck has the ability to come out and grab something. So it does not have to be on the edge of the roadway. It can be off the roadway several feet. Obviously, what the main thing is to make sure the handles are facing the house and to make sure that that it's 3 feet from any other object that you don't want picked up by a garbage truck. And I will mention that for our residents at home, I don't know where this information came from. It didn't come from us and it didn't come from River Birch. Your can does not have, the lid on your can does not have to be completely flat. It can be slightly open. In fact, I usually end up putting a bag on top of my trash at the last minute, and that lid is leaning on top. So if you have, your can is completely flat and you have a bag next to it, go ahead and toss that just into the can and containerize it. That's the surest way to get everything picked up. But again, we see it improving. We're seeing the amount of complaints start to go down, and areas that that weren't serviced are now being serviced. But again, we want you to reach out to St. Charles Parish if you're having an issue, and you can reach out to 783-5000. You can call the contract monitor's office, or you can send a message to us via Facebook. Or you can message the parish president via the website. There's a way to do that as well. So all of those, we take those, we track them, and we're sending that to River Birch. They have a dedicated team just for St. Charles Parish. So it's not like you have a team of people working in Jefferson or Lafourche and they're spreading out their time. They have a dedicated team for St. Charles Parish.
Matt, there was some information that came out earlier today that was saying that River Birch was telling residents to call the council office. I think Michelle took a lot of phone calls, and I think we all got a few emails and that. Did we get that kind of cleared up? Are they?
I had not seen that. I can definitely call them. I don't think they would say that unless maybe unless they might have confused it with the contract monitor's office.
Okay.
I have not heard anybody from River Birch say that. In fact, I'm sure if River Birch hits a call, they're gonna take care of something themselves as well. And we have a contact for the council members to email them directly. I can get you that contact after. If obviously more than welcome to pass your complaints on to Chandra, but if you need a contact for any other thing with River Birch, we have a contact. His name is Louis Lazama, and we'll get that information to you.
Louis has been great. He's been really, really great. So, thank you, Mr. Jewell.